What is going on, everybody? We are back on it. Geass Season 2, Episode 10. Just a quick heads up, this is going to be a post-commentary reaction. Wanted to make sure I got this up for you guys that are on Patreon. I let everybody know in the Discord. As soon as I posted the video to YouTube, it said it was blocked worldwide. I didn't get a copyright claim, didn't get a copyright strike. They just said it was blocked worldwide, and I'm currently appealing it or waiting to see why it was blocked. I haven't gotten an explanation. But the last time this happened, I waited, and it didn't end up getting unblocked. I think it was a Hunter x Hunter episode 94, 84, something like that. And I put in an appeal. I think it lasts 2 to 14 business days, so this could take well past Thanksgiving till I get a response or kind of a verdict on what it's going to be. So we'll wait and see. If I get access to it, I'll put it up. I tried to upload it on a secondary backup channel. Same thing happened as soon as I put it up, and I put it up on Vimeo. Vimeo? I don't even know how you pronounce it. And it got denied there as well. So I'm not sure what the issue is. Same format, same everything we do. No audio, the video's blurred out, all that kind of stuff. But it just is what it is. I don't want to press it too much and then have my channel be kind of watched and every video becomes an issue. So I put in an appeal. Hopefully we'll get an answer on that shortly, and if not, we'll just have to go with this. I want to give you guys the post-episode reaction. To start the episode off, I think I remember talking about what is Britannia's play here, and what is our name? What's his name that pilots this nightmare? Oh lordy, what's his name? I'm gonna forget, and I need to know. It's gonna bother me. Oh, that's gonna bother me so much. Hold on, I think I saw it a minute ago. I know you guys are probably saying it right now. What's his name? What's his name? Geass, blah blah blah, nightmare frame. It's gonna bother me until I get the name. What is it? Shengli? Something along those lines? King K. Thank you. That was gonna bother the hell out of me. King K is his name. I don't know if it was always the eunuch's plan to kind of go behind the Japanese people's backs and marry off their empress to the Britannians. Because we got this kind of narrator beginning scene where it talks about there's 3 major powers in the world: the Britannian Empire, the Chinese Federation, and they didn't name the third. Do we know who the third power is? Is it the India Federation or whatever they got going on? Because they mention India a lot here. Or is it another major power that we haven't heard of? But the 2 biggest ones, it's Britannian Empire and the Chinese Federation. I don't know if the third world power is India, or it's kind of made up of scattered nations and countries. So clearly, the marriage between the Chinese Empress and a Britannian prince would unify the 2 biggest world powers into one, which clearly the Chinese Federation want to be a part of because it doesn't make them second place anymore, and it just helps the Britannians kind of not have an actual enemy that can threaten them and kind of have control, because she's not going to live in one of the Chinese Federation territories. She's going to live in a Britannian-controlled area. So I don't know if it was always, if the eunuchs were 2 steps ahead, because maybe King K approached the eunuchs hey, Zero wants to do this, it'll help get back at the Britannians. I don't know how King K pulled it off to get the approval. I don't know if it's because Kaguya and the Empress kind of had a good relationship, and it was through the Empress that King K got the approval to ferry all the Japanese people. I don't know how he got what he did. But the eunuchs would have to agree, because just by this episode, they treat that little girl like shit. She doesn't get any say. She has the final say if something's brought to her, but it looks like a lot of things aren't brought to her attention. So I don't know if the eunuchs agreed, and then they took that information and ran to the Britannians. They're like, hey, I know you guys have been having problems with Zero and the Black Knights and the Japanese people. We just kind of made a little alliance to give them amnesty on our lands. If you marry off one of your higher princes or one of your next princes that's in line to be emperor to our princess, will not only join forces with the Britannian Empire, but we'll pretty much hand you over the Japanese people as well. So it's a win-win for them. They eliminate one of their major world powers, and they eliminate somebody that they've kind of had trouble dealing with. So I don't know if that was their master plan all along, or Schneisel really did approach them after what happened with the Japanese people, because they've made it known that Schneisel kind of put this in place. He's been the director behind all of the marriage. But when did that take place in the chronological order? I don't know. And then jumping into the episode, we saw the new nightmare equipment that Rakshata made. But I hate when they always do this. Like, I was so happy that the swordsman finally got machines that can like tote and throw hands. We saw Toto be able to actually compete with the White Lancelot, which is great because everything that we've had on the Black Knight side has been fodder equipment. Like, Suzaku comes on the scene, slice through it, it's nothing. And if we're going to be fighting the Knights of the Round and Suzaku's always going to show up to do these things, we're going to need pieces of equipment that can compete. So we saw them kind of stalemate out, which is good to know that they probably still can't beat the Knights of the Round in the current equipment that they have, but it looks like they at least won't be swatted away, as we had kind of like this image here of Toto and this is Kinkei fighting. So I'm like, yes, they finally got strong equipment. And in the same episode, they shit on that equipment all over again. Rakshata explained it as this was a piece of equipment that there was like a prototype that's only operating at like 40% of power that they couldn't get control, so they just kind of left it. But how did the Chinese Federation get their hands on it is still, I think, something everybody's trying to figure out. And he flipping gets through Toto like he's a slice of bread. He takes care of Colin and her Gurren. And she pretty much faces no doubt. So now we've got this. I don't know if this is going to fall into our hands. I hope it does, because this could be a great piece of equipment, because the Knights of the Round and what Suzaku has and everybody else, I feel like we still need pieces of equipment. I feel like every piece that the Knights of the Round have always have like a special ability or something going on. I'd like to see like the Black Knights get something on their side. So they escaped with the Empress, but then they got hawked down, and Kinkei was staging a coup, but then decided to help the Chinese Federation to get the Empress back, and when they got her back or had them cornered, then they turned on them again. Just a lot of like backstabbing, back and forth, and a lot of strategic things, and Lelouch was outsmarted by Toto, which pretty much something that I don't even think he could have planned for, which like how shitty the land and the irrigation and everything was that they were on. Like, he had the perfect plan set up, and it didn't work due to some technical difficulties, so he had to flee. Where all this equipment came from, like they have this huge motherboard ship. I know Rakshata was like been in production building these things, but how did they get them so quickly? They have other countries working for them and with them, correct? Because they just had huge like float ships and all this new equipment and all these new nightmares, and it looks great. And they were talking about how they're trying to form a United States of Japan, but a United States of multiple countries. I think they mentioned like they mentioned Mongolia and India in this episode. I don't know if there's a lot of independent nations that are kind of like they know they can't do it themselves, so let's team up with other United States of areas. So it looks like they've lended out a hand to hopefully get back from the people of India. We'll see if they show up. And we ended the episode with Lelouch pretty much backing them into this kind of like impenetrable fortress, some kind of like Lord of the Rings, Helm's Deep type thing, where like there's one way in, one way out. And this would be a good place to like make a last stand, and it's like I think it's a spiritual holy ground to the Chinese Federation, so they won't just blow it to smithereens because it holds value to them on like a spiritual religion level. So they're not just going to nuke it and get rid of thousands of years of history. And there's also no way for them to really get in. But they can't stay there forever, you know? So, and Lelouch is looking like he's trying to make a last stand, a last plan here. What the plan, how they get out of this, I don't know. The Black Knights aren't going to die here in this rabbit hole. So the thing is, like, they have thousands of Chinese Federation troops outside bearing down on them. And the Knights of the Round, Knights of the Seven are coming to assist the Chinese Federation as well. So how the hell do they escape out of this without getting hawked? I mean, it's not just like it's Colin and Lelouch and one nightmare and they can kind of like seep out of there and run. They've got hundreds of people and big spaceships and pieces of equipment. I don't know how they get out of this without just being completely decimated in numbers. But I'm sure we'll see it. And it looks like King K's got some kind of cancer or long-term disease. He's been like coughing up blood and keeps telling himself to hold on, hold on. But now the Chinese Federation has turned against him again. So what does he plan to do? Does he plan to turn on them again? And it looks like Lelouch has kind of outfitted Kaguya with kind of smooching over the Empress because she's too young to talk strategy or see where her mindset is. So Kaguya can talk to her on that like kid level and get her to kind of like side with them and do things. So that'll be good. And the biggest cliffhanger we had at the end of the episode was, I don't know which one is the Lelouch imposter. I don't know if it's the person in the Zero suit or if it's the actual Lelouch body clone that we see. I think it would be easier for the real Lelouch to actually be the one in school. But then who the hell is in the costume? And then you ask yourself who's in the costume, but that has to be Lelouch because he challenged Schneisel to a chess match, and he always talked about how he was the only person he was never able to beat, and we saw him going through the mental Olympics and hurdles and hula hoops in his head. I'm like, how do we get out of this? What do I do? Do I rescue Colin? Do I not rescue her? X, Y, and Z, and he was talking to C2, but in all this time, as all this has been going on, he's never taken off his helmet. So we don't know who's in there, but we've seen him there without his helmet, correct? Not this last episode, but when they took off and floated and left, have we seen him without his helmet on since they got on that like ice ferry? I can't remember off the top of my head. So the only other explanation I can think of is the real Lelouch, maybe the one that's at school, gave out, whoever is in the actual Lelouch costume, the Zero costume, gave him like a set of instructions, and if you're presented with scenario A, you can pick option A. If you're presented with option X, he gave like 2 choices per, like you do option A or option B. If you choose option A, do this next. Oh, if this happens, here's option A and option B again. If this happens, do this, do this. That's the only way I can see Lelouch letting somebody have the authority to pretty much. That is the operations. If that's not really Zero Lelouch in there, I can't see him giving that control to somebody else to have the mental fortitude to be able to make the correct calls and do the right things and the strategy. But what's wild is we've been getting camera angles inside the helmet, and it's been showing Lelouch and the Geass activated in his mental state, and he's been having conversations with himself, but we've never seen the helmet off. So I don't know if the person at the school is an imposter, how they're pulling that off, I have no idea. But that was kind of the bigger cliffhanger we left on. Another thing was Suzaku saw a picture on that other night's like video diary blog that she has, and it was Lelouch standing right there with C2 in a paper bag on her head, and I don't know how he missed that, or maybe he didn't look hard enough. I was like, oh shit, he's gonna find out that that Lelouch is kind of turned back, but they didn't say anything. Yeah, we had some good battles, some good little fights there. It's kind of, the Nightmare power scaling is kind of all over the place. Like, I don't know what means what anymore. And we haven't seen all the Knights of the Round's ability on what their Nightmares can do. So we'll kind of see how that plays out, and we'll go from there. But I definitely wanted to get this post reaction up for you guys in this discussion here. It'll be up Friday at noon, and then tomorrow we'll have not Hunter Hunter, My Hero Academia season 4 episode 5 up. So sitting down doing this midnight on my birthday just to make sure we got this up for you guys. You guys support me, so I definitely want to make sure I have the content there for you, especially on Patreon as well. And we'll go from there. If I get the video up or I get access to it, I'll be the first to let you guys know in the Discord. And if you're a Patreon member and you're not in the Discord or you're having trouble accessing it, message me on Patreon, message me on Twitter, message me on something, and I'll make sure you get that exact link, get situated, and get in there. And we'll go from there. So like, share, favorite, subscribe, and as always,